Hello and welcome to the Moncast.
A weekly podcast where we watch Pokemon and Digimon in tandem and discuss the similarities and the differences that they share.
My name's Stevie.
And I'm Sam.
The score currently stands at 2-1 to Pokemon, and this week we are watching episode 4, Challenge of the Samurai, and Biyomon gets firepower. Feedback, we have insert feedback here. That's pretty much it. I had one conversation on Twitter with someone which was sarcastically joking about how British we need to be, which I think I'll just read out word for word. I started off by asking people for feedback, and my friend says,
needs more tea and crumpets.
I said, you're right, we're not emphasising our Britishness enough.
I know, don't forget the monocles in this episode.
We can't convey monocles through audio, unfortunately. We could always open with a rendition of God Save the Queen, though.
London Bridge is falling down seems better.
Okay, we'll take your very important feedback into strong consideration.
Good. Also, scrap the whole Pokemon and Digimon thing and do My Little Pony.
Now you're just being ridiculous. We should obviously cover Cory in the House, if anything.
The best anime ever.
That was my friend's very helpful feedback.
Okay, well, would you like to be a bit British right now and talk about the weather?
Oh yes, it's just been very sunny this week.
It is so warm today.
Yes, there was a drop of rain maybe at one point, but I can't remember that.
Where was that? We had sunny cloudless sky. I was drinking at half one o'clock. I was drinking at 1:30 in the afternoon.
No, it must have rained at some point because I remember seeing puddles during my week.
It is very warm. It's brilliant. I've had to move my laptop into the other room away from the sunlight because my living room is currently a furnace.
Yeah, I've had to draw my curtains slightly so I don't get blinded.
Is that British enough talking about the weather? I think it is.
Okay, what else is British?
Queues, talking about queuing. I had to queue to go to the cash point today.
That sucks.
Have we done Britishness?
I don't think we've complained enough. What else can we complain about?
We're going to talk about Pokemon and Digimon. We're going to complain there.
Oh wait, actually, I have feedback for ourselves.
Oh, okay.
Which was, if we want people to send us feedback, we should probably list the places they can send feedback in the feedback section.
That is some good feedback. I think you should do that.
Well, if you want to give us feedback, you can find the Moncast on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Soundcloud, and iTunes. Just search for the Moncast. Or you can email us at themoncastpodcast@gmail.com.
I'm so glad you can just sort of say that off the top of your head.
I copied and pasted it in preparation.
Oh, okay. I thought you'd sort of remembered it all.
I'm not a professional.
That was our feedback section.
Okay, so I'm just recording this after we'd recorded this weekend, because we got some more feedback from May from Lost in Translation Man, and it's about Challenge of the Samurai, which was the episode for Pokemon this week. And they say they don't understand why Ash blames himself fully. The Samurai Kid is pretty much to blame, and it teaches a dumb moral. And they also say that they don't remember Misty being so annoying, but she's super annoying in this episode. Which, I don't know, I think Misty's very much in the background in this episode. I didn't really notice her being particularly annoying. Also, as for the podcast feedback, you guys are super great. Keep up the good work. The early Digimon episodes are a bit of a struggle, but Digimon gets better while Pokemon stays the same throughout all episodes. So, we pretty much know that Digimon's going to be bad for a while. With Pokemon though, I can't remember much after the first episodes, so soon I'm going to be going in pretty much blind. It will be interesting when we cover those Pokemon episodes that we don't recognise and aren't as familiar with. That's everything from May, but also on May's podcast, Lost in Translation Man, which you should totally check out. They got feedback from Fecksmith, who listened to the Moncast based on the recommendation from Lost in Translation Man, and said that were really fun to listen to and that they really like it. And they recommend us as well. So thank you, Fecksmith. That's really cool. And if you could send feedback to our podcast instead of someone else's, that would be pretty nice as well. Last thing, Sam and I have been talking since we last recorded, and we're going to see if we can upload 2 episodes a week. So expect episodes on Tuesdays and Saturdays from now on, at least as long as that works out. If it doesn't, we'll just return back to our normal weekly scheduling on Tuesdays. And that's going to start next week. The first episode we are watching this time is Digimon Biyomon Gets Firepower.
The kids start the long tradition of walking through a desert, complaining every single step of the way, until they come across a village full of sentient plant clowns. They try to get some food and rest, but are interrupted when an entire lake evaporates and they are attacked by a burning man. After lots of monologuing about friendship, Biyomon evolves into a British Birdmon to save the day, removing the black gear that was stuck inside Meramon.
I've taken a soil sample, measured the barometric pressure, and analyzed the relative humidity.
And what did you find out?
It's really, really hot.
It's not a mirage. It's real water. Do you think Mimi hears the same things we hear? I'm not sure anymore. I won't give up. Huh?
Look, Ty's doing a little dance for us. Is that supposed to stop the fire or bring down the rain?
Miramon is a fiery Digimon. There's no reason he should be in pain from his own flames. That's his nature.
Biyomon! Digiball 2!
Digimon!
Miramon, why did you attack our village?
I couldn't stop myself.
That must have been awful for you. If you couldn't control yourself, who was controlling you?
Nah, I'm not hungry.
I'm skipping this one too. I just don't like to eat on an empty stomach. Besides, I don't even know what that stuff is, but I'm sure I'm allergic to it.
So, what did you like about this episode?
The Black Gears. It's a new thing that seems to be causing trouble in the digital world. It gives them a sort of sub-quest aside from working out where they are and how to get home. They're kind of a nice, interesting concept as an obstacle because it obviously takes good Digimon and turns them evil, so they can't just straight up murder the Digimon that are infected with these things.
Well, they haven't murdered any Digimon yet anyway.
I know, but it means like...
Although we don't know about Seedramon.
I suppose Seedramon could have, because they obviously slept next to the lake, so if Seedramon was still alive, they would have burst out and attacked him, so we can assume Seedramon's dead.
Maybe Seedramon's dead.
But it gives them a nice sort of plot device to cause conflict that hasn't had before, because obviously they had Seedramon, Kuwagumon and Shellmon were all sort of just wild. I don't know, maybe they were infected with Black Gears and we just didn't see them, but they were sort of these wild creatures that they had to stop and defeat. But this time, Miramon seems to be a good Digimon that's been infected with this gear that's not a natural part of its life, as far as we know.
Oh, we see him get hit by the Black Gear.
It looks so painful as well when it sort of goes into his skin and everything.
Yeah, Miramon's pretty scary.
You think? I think he's cool.
No, I mean, like, what they do with his voice and the whole screaming in pain while he's charging at them has a pretty good effect for creating, I don't know, a scary situation.
Out of the ones we've seen so far, he is kind of the scariest. So, what did you like about this episode?
It's not a mirage, it's real water!
Didn't you say that, like, last episode?
But it was edited out. But yeah, it's like my one quote from Digimon that I use in real life situations that only I ever get. So I enjoy that quote a lot. It's an in-joke that only I know.
The most in-joke an in-joke can get. I think you've said it about 3 or 4 times.
It's such a good line. It's not a mirage, it's real water!
Is that going to be the title of this episode? It's not Mirage, it's a real episode.
Okay, something I did actually like was that we encountered friendly Digimon in the wild, which is something we've not had before because they've always been scary, evil things all about this.
Yokomon's kind of off-putting for me.
Really? Why is that?
They've got weird clown eyes.
So?
It weirds me out. It's like the same as Meikumon from Tri.
But I've never really cared about what the eyes look like on Digimon. But like, outside of a design perspective, I like Yokomon.
It's like a tiny pink clown bulb.
It's a talking radish.
That turns into a bird.
That turns into a bigger bird.
That turns into a...
man bird.
Which turns into a...
bird. It goes plant, bird, bigger bird, bird, man, and then back to a big bird.
I don't know, I kind of feel like Yokomon would be better for Palmon, because it's got the same little head spiral, it's got the same sort of plant shape.
Yeah, but then you'd have Tanamon becoming a bird anyway, which seems even less fitting because they don't even match colours.
They could just get rid of Tanamon. I mean, whose favourite's Tanamon? No one likes Tanamon. Okay, no, I can think of one person who would enjoy Tanamon.
That sounds slightly sexual.
No, May.
Who would enjoy Tanamon. Oh no, that's the worst image. No.
Why have you made it filthy?
I don't want this picture of May enjoying Tanamon in my head.
I'm sorry, May, if you're listening.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I like the Yokomon, and I like how they've made their own village as well. Because we've just had wild Digimon that hunt each other down, but they seem to have their own society and their own democracy.
But the thing is, and this is my favourite thing / character this week, is like the Yokomon. It's like when they're escaping, there's like a literal wave of them, just a sea of Yokomon flowing down this cliff face. There must be hundreds, if not thousands of them. There's about 20 houses. And even the houses are too small for the Yokomon. Like they can't fit through that doorway properly.
Anything else you like?
I like the fact there was more digital world weirdness. There was the forest that's full of road signs.
Seems to be your go-to point to that digital world weirdness.
Yeah, I quite like it.
It's there every episode. Eventually you'll run out and you won't be able to name it though.
There won't be. I will find something weird in every episode. There's also the desert that's full of like disconnected telephone poles. That's pretty cool as well. I like the sort of, I've said it before, like obviously I like the real world stuff that's been planted into this digital version of our world, and how it's sort of uncanny valley, is that it, where things are like close to human stuff but not the same, and it feels weird. It's got that sort of aspect to it where, oh, these are road signs, you've seen them on the road all the time, but here they are in this forest where there are no cars. Is there anything else you liked about this episode?
I think the group seemed a lot more dynamic and democratic this episode. Like, it wasn't always Ty taking the lead and deciding what they did. Like, quite often Matt would lead them somewhere else, and I don't like things where it's one person's the main character. So it was nice to have all of them sort of taking part in group decisions or where they were trying to go to.
There is one little bit that I quite liked, which is obviously we've explained before how Matt has this habit of making really bad jokes in life-threatening situations. And then Matt says this joke, and I can't remember the joke, but then Joe just replies with something along the lines of, "This is not the time to make jokes," and it's whilst Merrimon was attacking. And I was like, thank you, Joe. Thank you for saying this to Matt.
It's calling itself out on some of the bad things. Like, Matt makes a joke about how they talk about food a lot, which they do.
It's got a sort of level of self-awareness.
Yeah. It doesn't excuse it, just because it's pointing out that it's making these bad jokes or focusing on certain elements all the time. It doesn't mean that it should be forgiven for them.
They did more of the Izzy jokes with the aliens today as well.
Yeah, there was lots of bad jokes. Like, Matt had bad jokes, Mimi had more I'm a girl / I am a dumb girl.
I'm so upset by Mimi. It's one of the things I don't like about this episode. I remember that Mimi had bad lines and they made her stupid, but I forgot to the extent. Like, there's the bit where the fire is erupting from the well and Ty is absolutely freaking out, and he's sort of dashing from one foot to the other for some reason, and she's like, "Oh look, Ty's doing a little dance for us." It's like, no, Mimi, you can clearly see the fire coming out of the place the water was. It really bothers me because she's one of my favourite characters. I quite like Joe and Mimi because they get the short end of the stick, and I really like the second part of Digimon Adventure Try because it focused on them. I thought it was really nice. But in this episode, Mimi just seems so stupid, and it really upsets me.
Mimi's not really got a character yet. She's just made out of jokes and nothing else so far. She's sad.
It's so unfortunate because the last time I watched Adventure, it was in Japanese, and she has such much more developed personality than she did in this, where she's talking about shoes and stuff all the time. I'm like, Mimi, no, don't do that. Why are you doing this?
Anything else that you liked?
I like Birdramon. I'm glad Biyomon was the third to evolve, because Sora always seems to get left out plot-wise, especially later on in the series and stuff. And even in Try, she's drawn the short straw character-wise, and she seems to be left out all the time, and she sort of gets treated like the least important of the main cast. And it's nice to see that she gets an early episode focusing on her and her Digimon. I also didn't know how big Birdramon was, because obviously Merrimon grows once when it gets attacked by fire. And then when Biyomon evolves, Birdramon is huge.
I feel like the scaling in that whole area, though, was just not quite right.
If you look at all the champion evolutions, which we will at some point, but, you know, obviously after this first arc, we get to see all of them, and Birdramon is probably the most boring looking.
It's not got much of that Digiworld weirdness to it.
Yeah, no, it's not like Togemon, which I cannot wait for.
So you like Birdramon?
Yes, I do, yes.
I quite like Birdramon as well.
Is there anything else you liked about this episode?
Sora and Biyomon, and how they formed their own bond based on more than just being chosen partners. Like, they actually learned to trust each other, and I liked the whole dynamic between them of learning about each other, and I liked the fight as well, actually. When they were actually battling, Sora was coordinating Birdраmon's attacks.
Oh yeah, because she was saying things like Birdramon get away and stuff like that.
Yeah, we don't see much of that in Digimon. Like, usually it's just Digivolve, one attack, you win. Although, actually thinking about it now, the past two battles we haven't had instant wins, really. Like, there's always been a bit of build-up before it where the partners told them to do something.
Well, it's sort of been they evolve and then they just attack for a while, but they don't use their signature move. and then they use their signature move, and then they win.
Yeah, the signature move wins, but there's been a bit of struggle before it each time. But in this episode, the struggle was more actual like teamwork between Sora and Biyomon, which was really cool, I thought, because they've actually formed this bond in this episode as they've like learned to protect each other and stuff like that.
On the fact of evolution, I sort of the way I see it is when they evolve, obviously it's temporary, but I feel like it's almost like they've got an energy meter, and when they evolve, it starts running down, and when they do attacks, it drains a certain amount of their energy. So when they use like Meteor Wing, it drains quite a large amount of energy. So I feel like that's why they don't sort of evolve straight away, use their strongest attack and win. I feel like they try and find other ways to win without expending so much energy.
Yeah, they do Digivolve like straight after the signature move each time, because it is the first time that they've all Digivolved, so I guess they can't maintain the new Digivolved form very long, which makes sense for the battles that we've had so far.
It's the way I justify the flow of battle, like they don't use their strongest attack straight away. It sort of makes sense that there's this limited reserve that they've got, and using their signature move is their most powerful move, so they have to sort of save it till the opportune moment.
Yeah, they want the opponent to get weaker first. If they go all out straight away and it doesn't work and they de-Digivolve, then they're a bit stuck. But if they wear them down a bit first and then hit them with the knockout punch, then that works. So that makes the battles make sense a bit. We'll see if that pattern carries on through the rest of the episodes, which I don't think it will exactly.
You don't?
I don't think in the next battle it will, because the next battle's a bit odd, because we actually have Greymon and Garurumon returning.
Okay, is there anything you don't like about this episode?
As much as it's supposed to be a Sora episode, it seemed like the group did ignore her quite a lot.
A lot of it was more just her and Biyomon. There wasn't so much, like in the first episode, obviously it's, not the first episode, the second episode, but the first one with the Digivolutions. It's obviously, they go, oh, Tai, you've eaten this food, so you're now the strongest one. In the second one, it seems more focused on Matt and everyone talking about his relationship with TK. In this one, it was more of a personal thing, which I think sort of describes Sora in quite a nice way, because obviously her arcs that she gets later on are all personal ones that she goes through herself. She doesn't do it with other people.
Yeah, Sora seems quite introverted, really.
Which is nice. I like introverts. I'm an introvert myself.
It just sort of annoyed me how the rest of the group seemed to disregard whatever Sora was saying.
One thing I didn't like was that during the scene where they're walking through the desert, they're walking for maybe 5 minutes, and they are complaining so much, because obviously you see the black gear hit Mao Miharashi, I think it's called, and they comment on it, and then they're walking, and like almost at the end of their conversation, it cuts to a shot of them, and you can see Mount Miharashi in the background. So they must have walked for a good 5, maybe 10 minutes in this desert, and they're already giving up. Biyomon's giving up. So I just feel like if they wanted to do some discussion, they could have had them talking about the bit with Mimi talking about the phone booths and the trolley car. They could have had something important there, something plot relevant, but they just made a joke out of it.
I got the sense that there was a time skip during that conversation.
You think?
The mountain's a big mountain. It's hard to gauge distance in this anime because the scaling's all over the place.
But that's also the mountain that Miramon runs down.
Yeah, which is why it doesn't make sense unless Miramon's like the fastest runner ever.
Is there anything you didn't like about this episode?
We've already mentioned all of the jokes and the abundance of them and how it's just annoying. But really, apart from that, there was only one tiny thing, which was that Sora called Biyomon B.
And Bio. And the Yokos.
That's not the name.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't ever get mentioned again. They never do that same sort of thing again.
She's like, B. What? That's not the name. The whole point of them having Mon on the end is so that you know the Digimon and not Pokemon. And they forgot that bit.
I was like, we've discussed Mimi. I was upset about Mimi. And the other thing I have is that they explain things too much. Like the fact that the water gets filtered through the mountain and then that the black gear has gone into the side of the mountain. They say it several times in the same conversation that the water's filtered down from Mount Miharashi and then the black gear's gone to Mount Miharashi. Oh no, there's no water here. That's because the water is filtered through Mount Miharashi and the black gear is up there. Oh no, does that mean that the water that's filtered from Mount Miharashi isn't here anymore? And like, I feel like it's the same thing that happened in the second episode of Pokemon, where they sort of explain things a bit too much.
Ah, I see. Really, I didn't get that, but I think I was as absorbed in this episode as I usually am. I don't know why exactly. Probably because I had Chrome open on the side.
Do you have a favourite character / why?
Biyomon and Sora's interaction through the whole episode and their development together, because it was nice to watch and it was just cool to actually see them form this partnership properly.
It seemed to focus a lot more on their relationship than the last couple episodes.
Yeah, like we didn't really get much of Matt and Gabumon having a relationship or Tai and Agumon.
It seemed more that the camera focused on them a bit more than everybody else.
Yeah, when Biyomon and Sora go through their development stage and Digivolve, it's very much about Biyomon and Sora and nothing else. Whereas with like Tai and Agumon, Tai was thinking about the rest of the group as well, and not really that much about Agumon. And with Matt and Gabumon, Matt was just being an emo and not really thinking about Gabumon at all. So it wasn't as much about the kid and the Digimon as it was in this episode.
My favourite thing was the Yokomon, which we discussed before. Like, there's the literal sea of Yokomon flowing down that cliff. At one point, Joe says to, I think it's Tai, oh, this is all of this batch. Like, there's batches of them.
I like the noises as they're jumping off a cliff. That's basically what they're doing. They're just riding each other down the cliff. I wonder if this is like the first batch of Yokomon are just dead at the bottom to cushion the fall of all the others.
Well, I've got to make every episode grim. Overall, though, I thought it was an okay episode. It's the same as the last two, basically, plot-wise. But this one seemed to focus a lot more, as we said before, it focused a lot more on the relationships and stuff. In the last one, we had that little bit with Matt and TK and stuff. It wasn't that great, but this episode also introduced us to a new concept, which is the Black Gears, which I think's important, especially for this first arc, because they're this recurring plot device that we'll see later on throughout the next couple episodes.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good episode as well. It's probably the best Digivolution episode we've had. So before we start this, Rowlet is the best. The other two are alright, I guess.
First of all, how dare you?
That's pretty much all the coverage it needs.
We're talking about the starters for Sun and Moon have been announced, and when I first saw them, I didn't see the artwork, I saw the actual trailer, and I thought they were Neopets.
I don't know what Neopets are. It's
a thing from the 90s. It was weird, but they looked like Neopets, and I wasn't a fan, and then maybe 5 minutes later, I really liked them. I like the owl. It's a little shape.
I really like Rowlet.
But then I also like cats, and the cat's kind of cool, but I think my partner's going to have the cat because my partner's a massive cat fan. So I think I'm going to have the owl. And then I'm not a massive fan of the seal, but it's grown on me now. I think it's because I don't like clowns, and it reminds me of clowns.
Yeah, the seal doesn't sit right with me. Poplio is the seal one. Then there's Litten the kitten.
I like Litten the kitten, but I don't like the name because it reminds me of Litleo, which is already a fire cat.
Like Littens, well, I like cats. I don't really like the design of Litten that much. It looks like it's trying to be too cool.
Too edgy.
It's trying to be Shadow the Hedgehog edgy.
I think the evolutions are going to sell it for me, because if it does what Oshawott did, where I didn't like Oshawott that much, but I really like Samurott, I might change my mind about the seal later on.
I don't want to see the evolutions before I get the game.
Also, it's set in Hawaii, which I'm really excited for. It's called the Alola region or something like that, but it looks really nice. It looks really cool. The second episode we're watching today is Challenge of the Samurai.
Ash tries to catch a Weedle, but is interrupted by a samurai/Pokemon bug trainer that wants to challenge him. After a not-so-intense battle between a Metapod and a Metapod, they get chased by a swarm of Beedrill that Pokenaps Metapod. Ash's one, that is. After a lot of running away from Beedrill, Team Rocket turn up and unintentionally help Ash save his Metapod that evolves into Butterfree, aka the best bug Pokemon ever, to save them. Ash and Misty disembark for Pewter City and promise to battle a samurai again later on in their Pokemon journey.
Greetings, O Shrieking Maiden. Are you by chance the Pokemon trainer who comes from Pallet?
No, that's not me.
Alas! My search continues.
Metapod!
Metapod! Harden, like his!
Maximum hardness, Metapod!
What's that noise?
A Beedrill swarm approaches! Our match must end! Metapod, return!
Prepare for trouble!
Make it double!
To protect the world from devastation!
To unite all peoples within our nation!
To denounce... No, not again! Not now!
Butterfree. 1 week after Caterpie evolves into Metapod, it again evolves into Butterfree.
Do you have any more bright ideas?
Well, unlike you, at least I have ideas.
Yeah, and they're all bad.
Who asked you?
So I'd like you to hear my train of thought. So I'm just going to say what I've written down, because when I was watching Pokemon, my brain went elsewhere and my notes have gone a bit weird. But this is basically what happens, okay? Okay, I'm sorry, but what? This young kid has a sword, and that's completely okay in this world? Like, Ash is 10. This kid looks younger than Ash, yet he has samurai armor and also a sword. Also, I totally forgot about Pinsir. It creeps me out a bit. Also, the Pokedex sounds bored in this episode. Also, novice. There's just so much that happened. Like, so this kid's obviously younger than 10 because he's smaller than Ash and sounds younger than Ash. But has he watched too many samurai films? And now he's got, like, samurai armor and a tiny sword, which he's bought from where?
And also a bug catcher's net, so he's supposed to be a bug trainer, I guess.
I'm guessing he's, like, I kind of wish it was like a bug catcher.
He's a samurai/bug catcher.
His name is literally Samurai.
Is that actually his name?
That's what they use in the episode. They just call, like, when Ash refers to him, he's calling him Samurai. So, what did you like about this episode?
The whole thing was so completely ridiculous and random. It was really funny. It genuinely made me laugh at times.
Not a lot really happened in this episode. The plot's sort of like, it's kind of dumb, but it advanced the plot a little bit. It was kind of a filler episode.
It was actually funny, though. Like when Ash is trying to interrupt Team Rocket during the whole introduction.
Yes, I love that. That's one of the things I liked about, like, they're doing their motto, they be all super serious, and Ash is like, calm down, you're going to awake the Beedrill. And they're like, we don't care, we're Team Rocket, we can do whatever. And then it's like, this is why we bought the tank made of paper against a 3-foot bee with a stinger that's got to be like half a foot at best. A tank made of paper.
It's going to be interesting to see what episode it is where they finally blast off for the first time properly. How long till they reach that point?
I think I know the episode.
Just got written here, Team Rocket equals Three Stooges. That's the sort of humour they seem to have for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Physical humour or being stupid, messing up a lot. Was there anything else you liked?
Completely forgot that Pinsir was in this episode.
It doesn't Mega Evolve.
Because it hasn't got a Mega form yet. Yeah, Pinsir's mouth creeps me out. Also, its elbows are really low down on its body, and it creeps me out. After a Pinsir, he has a Metapod, which he uses against Metapod.
I know, that whole fight.
And then there's just so much innuendo.
I didn't notice innuendo.
Metapod, maximum hardness.
I didn't think of it that way.
Even harder. Harden more.
I didn't even think of it that way. That never even occurred to me.
You're not filthy-minded like I am.
I turned Enjoy Tanamon into an innuendo.
True. I actually quite enjoyed the bit where it cuts to Misty and she's just sunbathing. Where does she get the deck chair from?
Pikachu's got sunglasses and is on a deck chair as well.
But where did they get these 2 chairs and a table and some sort of cocktail from?
From the we need these for a joke land. There's an alternate dimension they can just dip into when they need props. Maybe Pokeballs can actually store deck chairs.
Maybe they're Pokemon. Maybe they're like 8th gen Pokemon.
In the video games, Ash can store a bicycle in his backpack.
Who's Ash? Don't you mean Red?
I don't care.
I care.
You name the character anyway. It could be called whatever you want.
Buttface.
Fine. Buttface keeps his bicycle in his backpack. Happy?
Yes, I am. Okay, so is there anything else you liked about this episode?
There was lots of wild Pokemon, and it was really cool to see them in the natural habitat, because that's not really something we get in the games very much. Like, it's always captured Pokemon, but in this we see them. Like, the whole forest is filled with Kakuna and Beedrill, apparently. They're just all over the place. It's like every 2 minutes there's another swarm of Beedrill chasing after them.
Is there anything you didn't like? Because, like, I didn't really have much negative to say. Like, even in Digimon this week, there wasn't too much. Like, this week the story's kind of dumb. It's like there's this young kid who's watched too many samurai films, has a Metapod, and then the Beedrill steal the Metapod, and then Team Rocket are there. That's basically the plot. But it's like, it wasn't bad. Not a lot happened, but it was still entertaining.
It was funny. In a very lol random way. Just made it up as it went along.
There's the scene with Pidgeotto. He's using it against a Weedle. All it's doing is flying and swooping, and yet somehow it's tired.
It's using Gust.
But still, how is it tired after just that?
Maybe it was already on low PP. It's been in a few battles without going to Pokemon Center. Although apparently it's actually been a week.
I was about to say, because the Pokedex says it takes 7 days.
Unless this Pokedex is lying to us. It's apparently been a week since the last episode, because it takes Metapod a week to evolve into a Butterfree.
I'm going to guess that this is your favourite thing this week.
Yeah, but we're not up to that bit yet.
Okay, but I'm still going to guess it, and I was right, which makes me happy. Because I guessed with Caterpie last week, and now it's Butterfree. So next week I'm going to be lost because we've got past your favourite.
Well, next week it'll just be Butterfree again.
Okay, so is there anything else you like about this episode?
We get a little mention of the other trainers from Pallet Town.
Oh yeah, we did, yeah.
Who we've still not seen two of, which I like, just the thought of them existing and we never actually encounter them. I like the little mysteries that it leaves us.
I still can't remember if we meet them or not. I don't know.
Yeah, I've just got noted. I still wonder if we'll ever actually see them. Plus, we don't actually know which starter Gary picked yet, so I'm looking forward to that reveal.
Is there anything you don't like about this episode?
I've only got like a few minor annoyances.
I've only got pretty much the story's kind of dumb.
Yeah, but I like dumb stories.
Like it was kind of stupid, but it was fun. And there's a fight with a Metapod, but even that's still fun when they're literally doing nothing.
They get worn out just telling them what to do. Yeah, things I didn't like. The recap at the start seemed really long. Yeah, the recap was 1.5 minutes. Other things, Ash got really cocky again. Like, he was back in his overconfident ways, like he was in the first episode before Pikachu almost died. I don't like it when Ash is ridiculously confident just because he gets one thing right.
I can see him having some confidence though, because obviously he's defeated Team Rocket twice. He's got 2 Pokemon which he got in quite a short space of time, and one of them evolved.
I just like it when he gets torn down every single time he gets cocky though. Just like the samurai rips into him.
Novice! I quite like the scene when he's about to fight Weedle, and I really wish he'd got a Weedle because Beedrill is amazing. Where he goes to grab a Pokeball and it's like, oh yeah, I need to weaken a Pokemon before I try and catch it, which shows him learning. Do you have anything else that you don't like about this episode?
They used the bug joke again.
That it really bugs you?
Yes, it does. It's such a lazy joke, and they've used it so many times already. I think Misty uses it, which just makes it worse because Misty hates bugs, and I hate Misty.
I'm sorry, what?
Okay, I hate Misty for hating bugs. I don't hate Misty. Is there anything you didn't like about this episode?
Not really. It was kind of nice. It was light-hearted. It was just this dumb little episode where his Metapod gets stolen by bees.
I know.
I don't know how to describe it. Ash gets outwitted by bees.
It's just so ridiculous, this episode.
And then on the way to catching, like saving his bug, he unearths more bees.
So many bees.
There's just so many bees in this episode, and they're everywhere. And then Team Rocket, and then bees.
I know. There's just like a million swarms of bees in this forest.
It was a good episode. It was quite nice. It was fun. It didn't really do anything plot-wise. It was filler, but it was nice filler. Like, you could probably cut this episode out apart from maybe the last like minute of Metapod evolving.
Yes, which we've not talked about yet.
Which is your favourite thing?
My favourite thing is just Metapod / Butterfree in this episode.
I forgot how annoying the voice is.
I don't find it that irritating.
Oh, it's just this high-pitched sort of warble.
Like Butterfree.
My favourite thing is Beedrill because it's a giant bee.
I'm going to have Civil War again.
I really like Beedrill. I also like its Mega Evolution. It's amazing. It reminds me of Canon Biyomon.
I completely forgot Beedrill has a Mega Evolution.
It does, and it's amazing. Did I say Beedrill's amazing? Beedrill's just amazing.
Well, guess what? Butterfree's better.
Let's just agree to disagree, because your dumb butterfly is cool, I guess.
Butterfree!
Are you done?
Butterfree is the best Pokemon.
Okay, I guess you can be wrong.
Okay, my overall thoughts. It was a silly episode. It was really funny, though.
It was super dumb. It had a tiny samurai and bees.
Who needs plots when you could be chased by giant bugs?
Now it's time for Mono a Mono, where we talk about the similarities and the differences in these episodes.
So, let's start with our monsters of the week. Butterfree!
Are we gonna, like...
Okay, Metapod /
This is the end of the podcast. This is how it ends, because mine's Beedrill.
Next episode, I might as well not be here. It's just going to be me, the whole episode, just going, Butterfree!
We're at an impasse here, because I really like Beedrill, because it's really cool.
I really like Butterfree, though, because it's really cute, and it's not powerful in the ways most Pokemon are, and it's really purple.
It also learns Psywave, which is a psychic move, which is pretty handy to have.
But yeah, Metapod / Butterfree in this episode was my favourite monster this week, because it had the cute eyes when it was Metapod.
Nah, Metapod's kind of creepy. Even Cocoon is creepy, though. I like Weedle. Weedle's kind of adorable. It's got the little toe nubs. Just let us know which bug-type Pokemon do you think's better. Are you Team Beedrill or Team the other one?
The right team.
Okay, which episode do you think had the best storyline?
It's such a hard question.
Do you want me to go first?
Yes.
I thought Digimon because it introduced Black Gears, which are a new plot element. Everything that happened in Pokemon we've already seen before. We've seen evolution, we've seen natural Pokemon, Pokemon in their natural habitats. We've seen trainer battles. So, have we seen trainer battles?
We had that one with Team Rocket, but that was a proper battle.
But we've seen Black Gears now, which are this thing that can turn relatively nice Digimon evil. Where are they coming from? Oh, it's so spooky scary.
Like, really, I think it's Pokemon, but, like, only just.
What?
Really close this week. But I just, as much as Pokemon's plot, if you can call it that, this episode wasn't very complicated. Neither was Digimon's, and I found Pokemon's more fun.
I suppose.
And as much as Digimon did have a Black Gear turn up, they didn't really cover it in any detail. Yeah, so really I think Pokemon had the better storyline, but only very, very tiny amount.
Okay, I'm going to change my mind because of what you've said. Because thinking about both episodes, yeah, it did introduce Black Gears, but I did laugh more at Pokemon. And there were bees. Were there any similarities between these episodes?
They had large groups of wild monsters. Like they had Yokomon or they had the Beedrill, and they were often in swarms or massive groups of thousands.
I couldn't see any similarities this week. I was trying to find something like kind of weird because my last ones have been kind of weird, and I couldn't really think of one. Maybe, wait, I've got this. Okay, the kid is a samurai, and then the mountain is called Mount Miharashi, which I'm pretty sure is Japanese.
Is that really your similarity? They both have things that could be slightly Japanese in them?
Yes.
I'm not counting that. Do you want me to give you one?
Yes.
There was lots of running away from things.
There's always lots of running away from things.
They both had bird monsters in. We had Birdramon and Pidgeotto.
Okay, so which episode did you enjoy more?
I've just realised we never actually mention any differences, do we?
No, because there are lots of them. Anything we don't say is the same is, by the process of elimination, different. Considering that's the whole point of this podcast.
It's just like, forget the differences part.
We don't do that.
We don't need the differences.
Well, starting next episode, we'll have to find more similarities.
To justify the lack of differences.
This one is wearing a blue shirt, and that one's also wearing a blue shirt.
Which episode did you enjoy / prefer the most?
It used to be Digimon, but after you talking to me, it's changed to Pokemon because it was actually more funnier. I like plot elements and seeing plot elements develop and sort of get introduced and stuff, but actually overall I did enjoy Pokemon a lot more.
Yeah, Pokemon was just funnier. It made me laugh, and Digimon didn't do that as much, apart from nostalgia reasons for certain lines.
Like what lines?
It's not a mirage, it's real water.
Pokemon was funnier, definitely.
Digimon's jokes don't land very often, whereas Pokemon's often funnier because it's sillier. It doesn't force it as much as Digimon tries to.
Digimon Adventure tries to. Okay, that's the end of the segment. Cut.
No, wait,
cut
we
5.
need to give the point.
No,
the
cut
point.
music 5.
The point
Cut
goes to
music
Pokemon.
Cut music
It's
number 5.
3-1 to Pokemon. Digimon doesn't stand a chance.
It does.
Even when Digimon
It
has...
doesn't stand a ghost of a chance.
Even when Digimon has a pretty good week, Pokemon still just scrapes the point. It was such a close week. Join us again next week. We'll be watching episode 5.
Showdown in Pewter City and Caboterimon's Electroshocker.
You can find the Moncast on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, SoundCloud and iTunes. Just search for the Moncast.
Or you can email us at themoncastpodcast@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Butterfree. 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 Butterfree.